here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is huge news. Alex Berenson, he's a journalist, says, boom, I say again, boom. The Federal Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just said Twitter and other social media platforms don't have an unlimited right to discriminate against speech. Let 1,000 flowers bloom.
Oh my.
And there's the opinion.
I hope James O'Keefe is listening somewhere off in the distance and gearing up for war. Here we go. It says the First Amendment protects speech. It generally prevents the government from interfering with people's speech or forcing them to speak. The platforms argue that because they are host and transmit speech, the First Amendment also gives them an unqualified license to invalidate laws that hinder them from censoring speech they don't like. And they say that license entitles them to pre-enforcement facial relief against HB 20. We reject the platform's attempt to extract a freewheeling censorship right from the Constitution's free speech guarantee. The platforms are not newspapers. Their censorship is not speech. They're not entitled to pre-enforcement facial relief. Is it facial? Is it facial? And HB 20 is constitutional because it neither compels nor obstructs the platform's own speech in any way. The district court erred in concluding otherwise and abused its discretion by issuing a preliminary injunction. The preliminary injunction is vacated, and this case is remanded for further proceedings consistent with this opinion. The floodgates have been opened. Not to mention, we've seen numerous reports now that the federal government has been colluding with big tech to censor. So particularly when it came to Fauci, Luke, you mentioned this, they went after a Fauci parody account.
Yep.
They were like, can we get this one taken down? It's not one of ours, something like that. The government went after Alex Berenson. The White House, I believe it was the White House, contacted Twitter and said, why haven't you banned him yet?
Yes, correct.
So now
he won that case.
He won it.
Well, he didn't win the case. He got
settlement.
And he got settlement, and he got the disclosure. He got the what do they call it when you can find all the facts? Discovery. He got discovery, and that's where they found this communication.
And now he's won another major victory here. So this is fantastic.
He told me it's just the beginning. He's going to continue.
Wow. Good. I'm glad to see it.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a concerted effort. Maybe we need to figure out how we can. Anybody who's been impacted by this needs to file suit. I think we've got a class action already.
There are a bunch of physicians doing class action against Facebook.
Oh, and that one's really important, especially.
Yeah, because they ruined people's career. They really destroyed people. Why? Because fear. The public health authorities in this country decided they needed to use fear to follow a zero COVID policy, and they believed their Chinese associates and professional colleagues that the lockdown was the only way to do that. That was the first time this country, West, had ever thought about locking down. It was the Chinese Communist Party policy.
I will say this as well right now, with this statement here from Alex Berenson. I am going to have our lawyers sitting ready and waiting
in case they censor tonight,
or otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, it is absolutely insane that these companies think they are immune, and I've argued this a million times. Now that we know there's been direct collusion, I'd be willing to bet we can find the same collusion between Google and the government that we found between Twitter and the government and Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg's admission, you think YouTube's clean in this one? I doubt it.
Absolutely. Why are they focused on certain things?
YouTube can back off and let conversations in the public sphere happen, or they can face discovery and be included in this wave, which will ultimately create a cascade of negative impacts on their platform.
Yeah. Mainline medical doctors were censored. Their voice was taken away from the commons because they dared to show data and science that didn't go along with the narrative and paradigm that they wanted people to go along. So seeing this news, it emboldens me. It shows me, you know what? Take me down. Censor me, because we could fight this in a court of law. And I will. If anything happens to me from now on, let's go. We're going to fight this.
I now had a real relationship with YouTube, and they very kindly reinstated. So you can get reinstated.
Not just yourself, but there's other doctors.
It's the AI that's the problem, and they need to adjust that.
Yeah, the code needs to be free.
It's not just that. It's not just that. There's other doctors. We can't even mention their names here that you interviewed that don't have a relationship, that haven't gotten their channel back. So it's not just the AI.
This is the issue with rulings like this. What'll happen is, I assure you that when he posted this 4 hours ago, I'm willing to bet that a legal team that's working with YouTube or whatever immediately said, we need to have a meeting right now. And I would imagine part of their advice to YouTube was, if you do cross that line, you could, we'll put it in simple math terms. If you think someone saying a bad thing on your platform will cause you, let's say, 1 degree of damage, so you make a move against that to rectify that 1 degree of damage, you could then be on the hook for 10 times as much damage. If you censor someone because you don't like what they've said and they sue you, it might open the floodgates to eliminate all of your protections. So you need to pull back. This is what often happens. They'll say, don't fight this battle because it'll make things worse. An example is when it was, what was it? Mississippi had the abortion law. Was that Mississippi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then so this group was like, we're going to sue to stop this. And then the Supreme Court basically wipes out Roe v. Wade. This is one of the big issues with getting involved in a legal battle. You can make it worse for yourself when you lose, or you can strategically retreat and pull back.
This makes me think that Twitter, apparently corporations think they have free speech. A corporation, an entity, an invisible entity thinks it has free speech under the U.S. Constitution. Maybe it does technically. But megacorps are different beasts. And social media is like the phone company. It doesn't, choosing who to shut down is not a form of free speech. If you come into my house and you're saying something I don't want you to say, I control the land. I have my free speech overrides yours. I guess that's the way it works legally. But for a corporation, no, I think times
They're
have
a phone
changed.
company. I'll tell you what. If YouTube says, if the rules were this, if you violate our policies, we will remove you from the partner program, I would say fair enough. Yeah, it is. I don't believe there's an obligation for YouTube to sell on my behalf advertising, but to restrict people's access to your content. Like we've been dealing this with now for the past couple of weeks, probably because we're within 2 months of the election. Our thumbnails don't load. When we launch the live stream for this show right now that you're watching, many of you might notice on the homepage of YouTube, even if you do see it, it's a gray block. And then Ian will be like, Tim, the thumbnail's not up. And I'm like, and I have to go in and put it up.
Almost every night.
And the issue is, we can see that has a direct impact on viewers because people scrolling their homepage won't see the thumbnail and they just won't, out of sight, out of mind. We also, several times in this show, got a weird YouTube error when we talked about certain things. That literally happens. So, look, they play these dirty games. They've been playing them with us for a while now. And it is insane to me that YouTube is basically supposed to be like a common carrier. It's supposed to be like a phone company. It's supposed to be a platform, but instead they act like a newspaper. They have editorial rules. They say, here's our editorial rules you have to abide by. Sometimes they don't even tell you the rules. There was an instance where there was a guy we call Voldemort. If you said his name, they would delete your video outright, even though it was never posted in their rules. That was the case.
Right. Well, I've gone back several times and asked what the rules are. They won't tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
They have some rules listed. I know one guy. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want them coming after his new show. But with no strikes, no rule breaks, they deleted his entire channel. 300 and something thousand subscribers.
They did tell us that they were under sort of a multinational attack right now with a lot of misinformation, which is kind of interesting to me. That somebody's trying to already stir things up as the election goes in, and to some extent, I want them not to be allowing stuff that's designed to harm us, right?
But
they have found that certain topics are in.
But
in
just
that
really
zone.
quick, I think there's no rules because they want you to be paranoid. They want you to censor yourself. They want you to be scared to even dare
Mission accomplished.
ask something that could go against the grain or the establishment. And I think
How about this AB 2098? I could lose my license. I'm scared shitless.
And it's
Let it out, Drew.
It's a lot more sinister than just like, hey, let's try to keep the rules here. Because you look at what Facebook was doing with the FBI. Facebook was colluding with them, giving them information, spying on people, getting people's private messages. But they also did that with COVID. There's Facebook emails showing how Zuckerberg was offering Dr. Fauci data on users to help the lockdown policies, to help people make sure that they weren't going outside of their homes. Facebook was volunteering that information. So the way that they work together, the way that they collude is far more interconnected than we even know about.
I think if we're going to avoid a civil war, it's by giving people control of their social media networks and their money. I know they're trying to turn Ethereum into the new global currency right now. It's
really
Ethereum. That's what it's pretty much. They're like, they just took Ethereum off of proof of work, meaning the miners that were making it. It's no longer that. Now it's proof of stake as of like 2 days ago. So whoever has the Ethereum is going to control the Ethereum network. Basically, they created fiat. They just created another digital fiat, and it looks like they're going to try and make that the global currency.
Ethereum,
and
though?
make.
Who's they?
Ethereum. Who is doing it?
Klaus
Probably
Schwab?
the American government, the World Economic Forum, the Chinese government. Those are probably the three biggest movers on the planet. Maybe
you're
other corporations.
You're familiar with the Great Reset.
Well, I see a book right there about
Yeah, of
it.
course.
Yeah,
You will
Alphabet's probably
own
heavily
nothing and
involved.
you'll be happy.
What?
You will own nothing and you will be
Yeah,
happy. I'm
right.
sorry. That's the quote, but it's actually, you will own nothing, you will have no privacy, and you will be happy.
Yeah.
The actual quote was from a tweet. The year was it 2030?
2030,
2030. I own nothing. I have no privacy, and I've never been happier.
It was an article in a policy paper that they were pushing for their vision of what's going to be happening in the future, which goes along the same principles of the UN 2030 vision.
I want to point out too that to a certain degree, owning less stuff will actually make you happy.
Yes.
They say that when you own stuff, your stuff owns you. But what we're getting from their vision of it is not exactly what is meant by owning nothing. Owning nothing is like having your necessities and then foregoing the ridiculous quest for material goods like luxuries. But their vision is more like you're going to eat a bag of crickets and live in a pod.
I think they want to strip property rights away from
Yeah.
people, and that's like the basis of this country is property rights.
That's the basis of communism.
And that you won't be able to escape, and you won't be able to have a car, and you won't be able to transport, and you won't be able to move anywhere.
It's the worst thing, like back in the day, if like things got bad, you could be like, well, I guess I'll go exile myself and live in the woods or whatever, or just go off somewhere else. There's nowhere to go anymore. They track you everywhere.
It's by design. Well, I don't know if it's everywhere, but that's what they. I think
You guys are totally depressing me.
Yeah, I'm stressed about this because I feel like we're about to evolve from the liberal economic order, which we've had since 1946, where it's American-led, rules-based economy, military bases, to a new world order, which is like this new global technocratic governance where they're trying to spy on people and make sure they're not stepping out of line because they don't want people to go crazy. They don't want people to blow things up. They don't want Hitler to come again. I get it. I get that the purpose may seem like benevolent, but stripping people of their property rights isn't going to go well in the United States. And we need to work together with you, Klaus, and you know that, to make a better world. I think decentralized property ownership is key, man.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.